Hello and welcome to Daily Dose of Reddit. Listen up, I'm sure you won't regret it, as my name is Zach and my videos are worth a binge. So welcome to r/NuclearRevenge. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell to never miss an episode. This story's called, They Stole Christmas Presents from My Foster Kids, so I stole their souls. Oh wait, no. So I stole the Christmas season from them. Prediction time. He puts them in a coma. Anyways, my wife and I once lived in an apartment complex in our first year and a half of marriage. Mail mix-ups were common there, so it was a bi-weekly routine to take a very quick trip to the main office, drop off a mislabeled package, and head home. Jump a year into the future, and we have a home and are taking care of foster kids that have just recently entered the system. We desperately want them to have a good Christmas since life has dealt them so many bad hands. Just once, I want them to experience a Christmas where they feel more valued than drugs and get more out of the holidays than horribly disgusting form of mistreatment thanks to their biological family. We ordered the gifts off of a site we used to order more frequently from, but haven't ordered gifts from there in a while. We found the perfect gifts. They were on sale, so that allowed us to get more for them, and everything was falling right into place. But then it happened. A day later, we checked our email, and to our horror, we realized the computer saved our old address, and even though we originally put in the right address, the computer autofilled the rest of the information. That sent the packages to the old apartment complex. We called the store. They wouldn't help us at all. So we called the apartment complex to try and get ahead of this before they were delivered. This was all going to go well until the current resident of our old apartment completely overreacted to the news. Out of the 4 boxes that were delivered to that complex, he only returned 1 and threatened, "If this happens again, I'm gonna destroy these gifts." Turns out, he had all the packages and was keeping them, knowing full well that we lived fairly close and that they were for foster kids. We called and contacted the complex multiple times, and they had the same sad news. Either the guy wouldn't return a call, or he would just angrily hang up. So I took a drive past my old apartment. I saw what car he drove, and then I saw that he obviously had some sort of family. I had one of 2 choices. I thought of letting it go. I thought about the spirit of Christmas and how the new year was a mark for a new start. Then I thought of him bringing stolen gifts to other people because this scum dweller wouldn't buy gifts for the ones around him either. This is when things turned dark in my mind. He tried to take gifts away from foster kids who have had their home taken from them. Why not take Christmas away from him? Why not take away his home? Whatever he has experienced in life to lead to this event, I want him to suffer even more for this injustice. In a right mindset, I talked to a cop friend of mine, and there wasn't much I could do without going to a small claims court and spending a good bit of money. I even posted on r/legal advice to get some help and got similar answers. The plan executed as follows. I parked on a hilltop overlooking the complex. Luckily, the apartment is close to the base of the hill, so I had a perfect spot to observe. After I waited for the guy to come home, I made a note of his vehicle to confirm that was indeed his car, and then went to the store. I picked up several dozens of eggs and a can of spray paint and went back home to await nightfall. I went back out around 2 a.m., I premixed the eggs and kept all of the shells. I went to a more secluded spot away from the complex where I knew I could park and find a route that didn't have any sort of security cameras. I snuck up, carrying a bowl of pre-beat eggs, the shells, and the spray paint in my hoodie pocket. I carefully laid the ingredients down that would be used to concoct my revenge. I was shaking. I'm still shaking as I write this. I pulled out the spray paint that I shook before getting out of the car to reduce noise. I used the paint to write "Home Wrecker" on the hood of his car. Then I poured the eggs from the roof and poured towards the back as to not let the mixture ruin the message on the hood. I laid the eggshells around the car. I placed a note on the bush outside of his door that read, "Fertilize these eggs," in hopes that his wife or partner would see it. Then I took a pocket knife and flattened the driver front and passenger rear tire. since some insurance will cover it if all 4 get slashed, and I wanted to do something a spare tire wouldn't be able to fix. I went to flatten a 3rd tire, but I saw headlights of someone heading into the complex, so I had to bail. I made me way back carefully to my car and drove off. I don't know how all of this had an effect, but I'm afraid to go back again and check on things without raising suspicion. So far, no one has reached out to me to ask about the incident. I made it out, but I will update if I find anything else out. Oh, and Merry Christmas. Update? I went back because it was killing me. I wanted to drive by and take a picture for you guys, but the car is gone. The shells are still littered on the ground, but it looks like the car was towed. There were also remains of a broken coffee mug at the base of his door. I'd like to imagine that he walked out, saw it, and spiked it into the ground out of anger. Or maybe his wife saw it and chucked it at his dumb head. I want to imagine that it destroyed his home so he can get a taste of what a broken home feels like. Just like how these foster kids have had to experience this time of year their whole lives. I told my family that someone had stolen or destroyed the packages, and they're all chipping in to shower the kids with gifts so they will not be without. Of course, I didn't tell them about the gifts or the plan of revenge on their behalf, but a great gift I will have received this year is that some sense of justice has been fulfilled. The best gift is being able to give these kids a Merry Christmas and the look on their faces when they get all of these gifts. Okay, first of all, good on this dude for trying so hard for those kids. To parents of foster children, I really appreciate you if you guys go out of your way to provide some sense of normalcy for these kids. And, you know, this story is just what they need. Not the gifts being stolen, but the, people willing to go that far for them. People that are willing to try for them. Well, anyways, holy crap, mail thieves, just the thought of them really, really anger me. I mean, my mail has never been stolen. I mean, other than by my dad. But just the thought alone, it really makes me wish that we could booby trap our mail. Similar to Mark Rober, but more of a permanent and harmful solution. Like, for instance, instead of glitter and fart spray, maybe shrapnel and Agent Orange. This story's called Wife Cheated, so I tricked her into publicly admitting to having the affair and herpes. Okay, so I'm the coworker that encouraged him to post this. Unfortunately, your account has to be 7 days old to post here, so I gifted him an alt I made for a joke about a month ago. This story is about 12 years old. I told it to one of my coworkers yesterday, and he said I should share it to Reddit. Today, he again nudged me, so here we are having drinks before the 4-day weekend, and my writing is complete. In college, I met the woman who I thought was my one. We dated for about 2 years and had a big-ass wedding after a 10-month engagement. Her family was pretty well-to-do in a small southern town. We were both continuing our educations, and I was also working to support us. I was pursuing a master's in engineering while she was finishing her doctorate in anthropology. Over the summer, an opportunity came up for her to make some extra money going as an aide on a religious studies trip to Jamaica. I didn't hesitate when she asked me about it. I mean, she was gonna get to visit Jamaica and get paid for it. I saw no downside other than missing her being at home for 6 weeks. Little did I know at the time, but she had been screwing the professor. He had hung out with us, smoked my weed, and drank my freaking beer. I considered him a friend. He arranged the trip for a couple of months, and it was a getaway for them to bang all over the island. I, clueless and happy, went about the weeks while she was gone, taking extra shifts so I could match what she made in our account and surprise her. What a ditch ship, right? One of the students from the trip actually seeked me out to clue me in. I didn't believe him until I started looking for evidence on my own. I broke down and checked her text while she was sleeping, and nothing was there. There were a few voicemails, so I decided to listen, and there it was. A message from that giant butthole saying how exciting it was that I almost caught them. I opened up her laptop and hit the emails after that. It was piles and piles of crap, making fun of me for not knowing, screwing him in our bed, and laughing about it. There was so much, and I was so heartbroken. Still too hurt to take any action, I was lost. I had no idea what to do, so I sat on it for a couple of weeks and acted as normally as I could. I noticed everything now. I felt so stupid for not seeing it before. So many signs. One stuck out in particular. I noticed that our stash of homemade weed lube, if you've never tried it, I highly recommend giving it a go, was going down even though we weren't having sex. It was obvious they were also using the fruits of my labor to get off more effectively. This really pissed me off, like unreasonably so, like Hulk freaking mad. It finally all hit me. I was a goddamn joke to these buttholes and they were using the lube I made and screwing in my bed. I didn't hurt anymore. I just wanted to make them hurt. So while she was studying at the library, I made a new batch of lube. I put enough weed in it to make it smell like normal, but I also added some poison ivy from our backyard to the mixture. And after refilling the spray bottle we used for the application, I waited. A few days go by, and I'm working extra so I can be out of the house more, and bam, bait taken. That night, after she goes to sleep, my plan goes into action. I sneak her phone away and delete my contact while replacing his phone number in his contact as mine. I go to bed but can't sleep because it feels like I'm 5 and tomorrow is Christmas. Dawn arrives and she's in the shower. I get a text. "I'm super itchy. Are you okay?" Now, Lord, now is my time. Look, I thought it had cleared up, but I guess I had a flare-up? I'm sorry, but I've got herpes, and I guess you do now too. I heard this bench squeak in the shower. I'm covering my mouth, damn near losing it. I went on to tell her that it was time to end things now. A new semester was about to start, and I kind of have a little crush on another TA. I wanted her mad. This is a woman that never got told no growing up, and never had to deal with rejection, let alone from a balding dude in his 50s with herpes. When she got out of the shower, it was obvious she had been crying, but I could see the anger in her eyes. I could see how uncomfortable she was, squirming at the table, drinking coffee, and mulling the situation over. Another little nudge is what she needed. The reply she got to her pages and pages of anger and sadness was, "Thanks for the good times, but can you keep this a secret between us? I don't want to ruin my chances with anyone else." She's flush with anger now, just seething. She gathered her keys and headed out the door without even saying goodbye. I knew where she was going. I booted up her laptop and set it to reformat, deleting her dissertation and any notes pertaining to it, before following her to campus. I parked a few lots over and rush over to his office where I find her screaming at him for giving her herpes. There are lots of people there. Professors, aides, students, other faculty. I'm dying. He is beyond embarrassed and confused as heck. She is ugly crying in front of her peers. I'm in heaven. I didn't even care that people were going to think I had herpes too. The fallout was apocalyptic in their department. He lost his job due to code of conduct at the university. We got divorced the following year. State law was we had to be separated for 1 full year before granted a divorce. I got to keep most of the assets, primarily savings, and not a ton, but I worked for it. She never finished her doctorate and went on to be a perpetually pregnant housewife that sells Herbalife on Facebook, and he teaches high school now. It took a few years for it all to unfold, but watching it was glorious. Okay, so that story was extra satisfying because who does not hate a cheater? However, there is one thing that's really bothering me. Why didn't the professor contact the girlfriend? Alright, I know it says that he replaced the professor's number with his number, but he never said that he blocked the professor's number, and he says the professor was confused as to what's going on. Was the professor not affected by the poison ivy, or what? What's going on there, man? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell to never miss an episode.